After watching his latest collection for Balenciaga, it's obvious why Demna Gvasalia has had such a huge impact on fashion. He gets right to the heart of things, naked desire. You know what I love about what is happening here is your incredible respect for Cristobal Balenciaga. The way you start with him, I just find so thrilling, actually.
Well, I think it's inevitable when you know the history of fashion, and especially being in this house and having this huge responsibility of it, evolving it further, you need to feel. I feel it's such an honor for me to actually be able to give this respect to him. I don't know. It's just kind of it's a very personal thing for me, kind of. I'm not turning tables and speaking to his ghost in that term, but I try to understand how he saw a woman and what he wanted to give to her, and that's every season. This is the reflection behind, of course, in 2016 how it's being done. I mean.
And what conclusions have you come to when you try to analyze the way he saw women, the quite subversive attitude he had about what he did?
I think he really admired women. He talked to his models, he asked them how they felt. He wanted them to want to wear the clothes that they wore, and this is a bit the case we have here. That's what every time we cast the girl and we feed on her, I ask, would you actually wear it? Would you buy it if you could? And that's how we define also, what they're wearing.
This was perfection for me. I thought aesthetically he has his new aesthetics that he had before, and now he's changing the coats with colors and fabrics, and it remains an extraordinary, beautiful silhouette. I think he's really mature after a second collection, which is unique. I think after this he can do whatever he wants.
It's the best way to do a collection, to do pieces people want, like fetishist. That's why I think it's the perfect, very commercial and right way to do collections, to do things people really want.
I think it's just quite natural. It comes out so natural, and it's really like we just follow intuition, in a way. And so, in a way, we're not trying to make any statements and not trying to make, any kind of like trying to be so contemporary or whatever. It's just whatever feels right at this moment,
And this season especially, it was the idea that I had just a few days ago. I wanted to use those brooches from archives as an actual Cristobal touch. I wanted him to be present in this collection because he touched those pieces physically.
That's very powerful. That's almost a cult, the notion of having these objects, like fetish objects.
That's the fetishism aspect to it, because we went into looking for these parallels between couture and fetishism, and I found it very exciting. It's all about how the fabric feels. Fetish is really about that, on the skin, being the second skin. That's how couture is, or used to be. It arouses senses when you see a beautiful couture dress. That's what happens with somebody who has a fetish of a certain garment. When they see it, they get sexually aroused. I mean, it's a different type of arousal, but it's still that. And that's something that was very interesting too. I think the fetish side is more my part of the collection, It's more.
That's acknowledging, that's acknowledging the power of fashion, isn't it? Because the power of fashion is the power of fetish, really.
Exactly, because why do we torture ourselves to go to all the shows and to wait for those pieces to come in 6 months? Because we want them, we desire it. And this desire, I think, kind of sometimes obsessive desire for something, is a part of fetish and is a part of fashion or couture.
Another thing I find is very kind of referential in a way, is the stuff that's happening within the garment that no one else can see, the stuff that is just for you.
Yeah, or for a wearer to know that they can wear things in a different way, and that's something that also was very present in Cristobal's work, with having three-piece things, cape that became a skirt, etc., etc.
Those proportions, you get a sense of lightness now, which I think that's what's evolving.
We took out everything that was in there. It's as light as possible. We use very classic tailoring wools, for example, for tailoring. We actually use stock service of the most classic, manufacturers. Because I wanted the fabric. The only idea was the shoulder pad that was supposed to keep the frame, and all the rest was the job of the fabric to do.
So do you think, in a way, what you're doing, you're not just making fashion, you're also making a comment on fashion at the same time? There's a sort of involvement, but there's also a distance, which is really intriguing.
Maybe
to
not
work.
consciously, but I think it's a part of the creative process that I kind of learned to analyze things and to question it. And this questioning, it pushes the creative process to me. And then you come up with ideas just by questioning things that are already in front of you.
And where do you imagine it will take you? Do you have any idea of where this could possibly go?
I tend not to think about next step and tomorrow. I'm very now and living in the present and what it is, and very intuitive or based on instinct. The way for example, 6 months ago, I didn't really plan to do this collection. I knew the evolution, how I wanted it to go, and I know the next step in a very abstract way. It's going to be about couture. It's going to be reworking the idea of what couture means today, and evolving the heritage from Cristobal, especially, into 2017 and 2018. And
if you want to know more of what I think about fashion, if you even care what I think about fashion, don't forget to subscribe to The Business of Fashion on YouTube.